One of the biggest talking points of last offseason was where Jimmy Butler was going to sign. And after the turmoil that he had undergone with the Minnesota Timberwolves, it seemed clear the most that Jimmy Butler really cared about winning and was going to sign with a contender. Thus, it looked like he was debating between two options, either re-signing with the Philadelphia 76ers and running it back with the team that just got their hearts broken by Kawhi Leonard in the Eastern Conference semifinals, or signing with another contender like the Los Angeles Lakers and trying to win a title there. So, it was a shock to everybody when Jimmy Butler announced that he was going to sign with the Miami Heat, a team that just went 39-43 and finished 10th in the Eastern Conference. But I'm here to tell you that the Miami Heat may actually be a contender to win the Eastern Conference this year. Why is that? Well, one of the reasons why is their depth. Let me just run through some of their names on their roster. Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Herro, two rookies that have been incredibly impressive this year. Kendrick Nunn is averaging 20 points per game, shooting 44% from three. After he went undrafted in the 2018 NBA draft, he is looking incredible in the starting role as a point guard for the Miami Heat. Tyler Herro, who the Miami Heat selected in the first round this last draft, is averaging 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, and looks like a prolific three-point shooter and can really help space the floor. Justice Winslow had a breakout season last year and really excelled when he played point guard. Although Kendrick Nunn and Goran Dragic are mainly going to be in that role, Justice Winslow still provides an additional playmaker for the Miami Heat offense and can provide some additional scoring while he's averaging 15 points a game this year. Other names that really stand out are Goran Dragic coming off the bench, who's a former All-Star, Bam Adebayo, a big man that has really emerged as a great center after Hassan Whiteside has left the Portland Trailblazers. James Johnson, who just played his first game of the season, last game, and put up 17 points, and he's been an NBA player for at least the last decade who can constantly be a disruptor on defense and a really good, efficient player on offense. Myers Leonard, who had breakout moments last postseason for the Portland Trailblazers, is excelling as a big coming off the bench who can really help space the floor. Additionally, Dion Waiters, who is still out with an injury, is a streaky shooter similar to J.R. Smith or Gerald Green that can be plugged into the Miami Heat offense when it's struggling and can provide a spark plug if he catches fire. Duncan Robinson, another name that people are really talking about, is a second-year player for Miami, and he's putting up some good numbers in their first 6 games, so we'll have to look out for him. Just that team alone, I believe, would be good enough to be a 500 team in the Eastern Conference and creep into the playoffs. But the addition of Jimmy Butler has taken them to the next level. I think Jimmy Butler is that good. Jimmy Butler showed what he can do with the Minnesota Timberwolves, taking them to the playoffs his first season there, and with the Philadelphia 76ers. I already mentioned that Kawhi Leonard broke their hearts, but if that shot hadn't gone in and the game went to overtime, and somehow the Philadelphia 76ers were able to get through that, I think they would have had a great chance to get through the Milwaukee Bucks. And if the same injuries had happened to Golden State, Philadelphia could have very easily had won the championship last year. There's no denying Jimmy Butler's talent, and I think he is that good to elevate this Miami Heat squad with that incredible depth and so many versatile players on this team to the next level. Now let's run through some of this competition. Well, Miami Heat are clearly in the Eastern Conference. Well, I'm not comparing the East to the West. If the Miami Heat were in the West, there would be no chance that they would make it into the NBA Finals. But let's go through some of the competition leagues. The Toronto Raptors, the defending NBA champions, have clearly lost Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, which is a big loss. And although they have much of the depth similar to Miami, they don't have that proven star. Pascal Siakam looked great at moments last year and has looked great this year, but he's not proven as a number one option in the playoffs yet. And Kyle Lowry, although he has also been an all-star for the previous 5 seasons, he's proven to shrink sometimes at the biggest moments in the postseason. So they aren't a reliable team to count upon in the playoffs as a threat to Miami. Boston. Although Boston had a big offseason move signing their big star, Kemba Walker, I don't believe Kemba Walker is on the same level as Jimmy Butler. I believe Jimmy Butler ranks anywhere between 11 through 15 in the NBA, and Kemba Walker is a step below that. So, although both have their star player, Jimmy Butler is superior, I believe, to Kemba Walker. And besides that, Boston, I don't believe, has the depth that can match up with the Miami Heat. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward are great pieces. Besides that, I don't know who they can rely upon to provide them great minutes. Now let's move on to the two main threats that the Miami Heat are going to face this season. The Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, most people are picking to win the Eastern Conference, but by default, I believe their team is much weaker than it was last year. They lost Malcolm Brogdon and Nikola Mirotic. Those are two big losses. Just look at what Malcolm Brogdon is doing this year with the Indiana Pacers. It's absolutely incredible. And we saw it during the Toronto Raptors series. Bledsoe, Middleton, some of these players can disappear and it can be heavily relied upon Giannis. Both these teams, Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks, are very similar. Have deep squads. The Milwaukee Bucks have Lopez, Korver, Matthews, Ilyasova, and the Miami Heat's players I've already mentioned. And they both have their big star. And by no means am I comparing Giannis to Jimmy Butler. I believe Giannis is much better than Jimmy Butler. But one thing Giannis struggles with is his shooting. If Giannis isn't able to get to the rim, then I don't know what happens with the Milwaukee Bucks offense. We saw, like I said before, some of their players disappear in the playoffs, and Miami has many versatile defenders that can throw at Giannis. James Johnson can guard him. Bam Adebayo can try guarding him when he's in the post. Justice Winslow is a good size player that can guard him. Jimmy Butler is a great defender that can put on him. So if Giannis isn't scoring and Milwaukee's players aren't showing up, then I'm worried that Milwaukee will struggle to score on Miami. And although Jimmy Butler isn't on the same level, Jimmy Butler is a proven clutch player and has a perimeter shot that is pretty efficient. Thus, Milwaukee struggles and Miami's depth and Jimmy Butler's skill set may match up well. Now Philadelphia. I do believe Philadelphia would be a tough series for Miami, but one thing I have to say is that Jimmy Butler played on Philly last year, and he was their clutch player whenever they needed a bucket. It wasn't Joel Embiid, it wasn't Tobias Harris, it wasn't Ben Simmons. They relied upon Jimmy Butler, okay? Jimmy Butler may have that slight mental edge that gives him an advantage over Embiid, over Simmons. They might look at him as a big brother. They might be intimidated when it comes to that. And we haven't seen Philadelphia, we haven't seen Embiid, Simmons really rise to the moment yet. So I think that might play a factor in that series. Additionally, I've talked about Miami's depth. I don't think Philadelphia has that same depth. They have a great starting five, one of the best starting fives in the league, no doubt. But besides that, their 6th, 7th, 8th man looks like it's Matisse Thybulle, James Ennis, and Furkan Korkmaz. I don't think that's good when comparing Miami's players off the bench are probably going to be Tyler Herro, Goran Dragic, and James Johnson, Dion Waiters. That's absolutely incredible. I think a combination of Jimmy Butler's mentality and the lack of depth, Miami might be a tough series for Philadelphia. I know it's only 6 games into the season, and I don't want to make any conclusions yet. Am I picking Miami to win the East right now? No. But if this continues on 20, 30, 40 games into the season and Miami still looks this good, there's no question in my mind that Miami might be a serious threat to win the East this year. All I'm saying is watch out for Miami. They might be legit. Thank you for watching.